So we now know exactly where President Trump will meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin this week. Their meeting on Friday is, of course, set for Anchorage, Alaska. We've known that for a couple of days. But more specifically, it's going to be at Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, Alaska's largest military installation. And the base isn't just any run-of-the-mill military base. It has a lot of history. It was even an important part of the U.S. strategy for countering the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Still home to aircraft squadrons that intercept Russian aircraft when they cross into American airspace. That is where they are meeting. Given that Russia used to own Alaska, and given the significance of Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson in Russian-American relations, it's almost like it was chosen to make Putin feel special or something. I mean, Trump is handing Putin a perfect photo opportunity, not just on American soil, but on the military base where the U.S. scrambles planes to meet Russian fighter jets in an American state whose territory Russia used to own. So those are the optics of the meeting. There's also the question of how their Friday meeting might go. And for that, it's worth looking back at this jaw-dropping moment in 2018 after a meeting between the two world leaders in Helsinki, Finland, when Trump openly sided with Putin over U.S. intelligence agencies.
Just now, President Putin denied having anything to do with the election interference in 2016. Every U.S. intelligence agency has concluded that Russia did. My first question for you, sir, is who do you believe?
My people came to me, Dan Coates came to me, and some others. They said they think it's Russia. I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be.
You don't see any reason why it would be? How about your intelligence agency and your director of national intelligence, who you just name-checked? That aside, I mean, obviously, the Helsinki summit was such a disaster for Trump that his top Russia advisor at the time, Fiona Hill, later said, quote, "My initial thought was just, how can I end this? I literally did have in my mind the idea of faking some kind of medical emergency and throwing myself backwards with a loud, blood-curdling scream into the media." It's quite a visual, but I get it. I mean, now, as someone who has worked in two administrations, it's not something that has really ever crossed my mind. But what makes Trump's comments from Helsinki so important ahead of the meeting on this Friday in Alaska is that Russia is still attacking the United States. The New York Times reported this week that investigators have now uncovered evidence that Russia is at least partly responsible for the recent hacking of the computer system that manages federal court documents. That system includes highly sensitive records that could reveal intelligence sources and people charged with national security crimes. In any other circumstance, whether a Democratic president, a Republican president, anyone, this would be at the top of the agenda. Naturally enough, of course, Trump was asked today if he would bring up this new attack with Putin. Here's what he said.
There's new reporting that the Russians have hacked into some computer systems that manage U.S. federal court documents. I wonder if you've seen this reporting and if you plan to bring it up with Putin when you see him later in the week.
I guess I could. Are you surprised? You know, are you surprised? They hack in. That's what they do.
It's U.S. courts. I mean, you would think the president of the United States might be a little more concerned about a foreign adversary hacking into our federal court system. But Trump is out there playing it down as that's what they do. Such is life. That's what they do. Let's have him on U.S. soil. No problem. And that's a pretty unusual response, to put it mildly. Just like it's unusual that a U.S. president agreed to hold the summit on American soil. It's also unusual that a U.S. president has said so many contradictory things in the span of just a few days about what he wants to accomplish in this meeting. I mean, last week, Trump hinted that a deal could be made for a ceasefire in Ukraine. Then on Monday, he called it a feel-out meeting, whatever that means. He floated the idea that Ukraine should give up some of its territory in a land swap with Russia. Today, Trump told reporters there could be a second meeting with Putin soon after this one. That would be more important than the first one. Normally, you'd want to see how the first date goes before you commit to a second date. That's true in nearly any relationship, certainly with an authoritarian dictator. Meanwhile, he told European leaders that he won't discuss dividing up territory with Putin this week and that Putin will face severe consequences if he doesn't agree to a ceasefire on Friday. This seems totally unprepared. Normally, you prepare for these things for weeks and kind of all over the place. And a high-stakes summit like this, that alone is alarming. But the thing I can't get out of my head, while Trump plays down Russian hacking attempts and rolls out the red carpet for Putin in Alaska on a military base, what I cannot stop asking myself is what more could the Kremlin possibly want?